G'day and welcome back to another episode in the shed of Basketball Truth for Ball Don't Lie Australia, here in, of course, Studio 3, brought to you, of course, by Dr Electrician, part of the Dr Trades AU group, and supported every week by the local card shop of Woolloongabba, not just in our Crackem segment, of course, but in my lifelong obsession with cards. So the little rectangular prisons of destiny. Rob and the team helped me out, and I'm sure they'll help you out too. Make sure you get down there and see them. But, of course, I've got a joker to the left of me and a joker to the right, on my screen anyway. So Elliot is back, and so is Macca. Boys, welcome back.
Good to be back.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. Thanks for having us on again.
No dramas at all. Always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. Look, let's jump into some basketball talk. Let's start with the sad stuff first. And let's all put them up. Waggle those fingers, boys. Waggle those fingers. Your wags out for Mutombo. Sadly passed away, and look, he's one of those players. He's got the voice, he's got the blocks, he's had the game, but this little thing here, I think, is what sort of really stuck for me. Like the amount of times I've done this to people, I should not have had the courage to do it too. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Mutombo, if people had done that to other people, like there would have been some fisticuffs thrown. But the fact that the big man went out there, did it, like he was, very charitable, all that kind of stuff you love to see after the game and away from the game. Very sad. I loved his, bits in MJ and The Last Dance, how he was, was smart enough, cheeky enough, dumb enough, whichever one you want to go with, to tell MJ that he hadn't been dunked on. Yeah. Next opportunity, bam. But, I think this will stick with the basketball world for quite a long time.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And, man, I remember in that Philadelphia team with him and Iverson and taking the Lakers to 5 or 6 games in the finals. He was a great player and a philanthropist, like you said. So yeah, pretty sad. I didn't even know he was unwell, and then I was reading today he's unfortunately brain cancer. So yeah, very sad to hear that news.
Very sad indeed. So yeah. No more. But the waggle will continue, I'm sure.
Definitely.
So,
I don't think I've blocked someone since 2006, so I won't get a chance. But I'm sure you boys might get a go.
Look, I haven't got a clean look in a long time, but if I'm getting a touch or a deflection, I mean that should be disrespectful enough. But I'm gonna throw it up in your face, guaranteed. Especially. I imagine there's a whole lot of people being blocked this week who then get a touch of this just as a,
That's the one.
Yeah.
sign of respect upstairs. But all right, boys, let's bring it back home. A little bit of news this week. Of course, Patrick Ewing Jr. signing with the Southwest Metro Pirates, stepping into the head coaching role. Been doing a little bit of stuff with the Bullets this season, regular NBL season as well. Obviously, famous name. Went to some similar places along the journey as well. Played in Georgetown, had a coaching role there as well, assistant coaching role there as well, all that kind of stuff. But look, big signing, of course, for Metro Pirates in every sense of the word. And they're looking to bounce back after what was basically just a over-the-top injury-affected season.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, big move because you lock down your coach early and you're giving him the reins to go out there and put together the squad he wants to. Plus, he's already had a bit of experience with it last season, so you can't you expect good things to come out of that, which is good to hear because it's well and truly it's really early to start hearing stuff about the NBL1. So I think that's just Southwest Pirates being proactive and yeah, all good things to come from it, I think.
Yeah, lock it down early, get it in, give coach as much chance as possible, because if North is anything to go off last year, obviously we're still waiting to hear around RIP City and Red City Raw's proposals. We'll actually be speaking later this episode with Jason Brooks. He'll be jumping on shortly at one point to have a bit of a chat about how things are going there, what's happened, what the trajectory is, what the hopes are for RIP City Raw. So, but the NBL1 North, especially in that men's space, really competitive. There's a lot of teams out there putting together some high caliber rosters. So best to get everything locked in early and make your push for NBL1 North 25 as it comes around. But let's now have a look at the NBL. Mac, who's really high on your radar? I mean, you're not one to normally, go over the top and, put all your eggs in one basket and, bet ridiculous early in the evening. Yeah. Or are you? Are you ready? Like, who you loving so far?
I think the team I'm probably loving the most is actually Illawarra Hawks, and it's not necessarily because they're 3-0, but we saw them. I ran into
because they beat your Kings, and now you
they did. Yeah, they did. But all the talk was about the Kings, and like preseason. If you went off of the hype, it was the Kings, Southeast Melbourne. Not a lot about the Hawks, except they were bringing back much of the same team. Jason Tatum was getting a full season crack at the head coaching job. But at the NBL Blitz, we saw the Hawks. Can't remember who they played, but we saw them play their first game. And I ran into you after it, Mal, and I said, geez, the Hawks look really fit. Like, season's gone by, you might see Tyler Harvey come back, probably just not looking 100% game fit from the start. And sometimes you see that with the imports where they might not have a lot of lead-in stuff and then take a few games to really hit their stride. But the whole team just look rock hard fit and they look really, really good. The only sort of standout thing is they didn't really look to have an out-and-out point guard. They were sort of just really sharing that between Kel, Tyler Harvey, and then Davo Hickey off the bench. But they look really good. I've been really impressed with how the Hawks are going, and I reckon they can put it together and probably finish in the top 4, and maybe even up in that top 2 spot if they can keep it going. So they've been the standouts for me. The other one is just New Zealand. They've been the surprise for me, the more than standout. I didn't really expect them to, just with the changes they had in the off season, and not that they didn't bring much in, but they didn't import wise didn't really do too much. And I think they look fantastic. And the only really out there thing, I reckon Parker Jackson Cartwright, he has to be a shoe-in for MVP. There's my outrageous claim. So by him and Menanga, I was really impressed by him at the Blitz as well, and he's been playing fantastic as well the first few games. So yeah, Hawks and New Zealand for me.
All right, and just to clarify, easy mistake to make, mate. Justin Tatum. Hawks
sorry.
Definitely cannot afford Jason.
Tatum.
Definitely can't afford him, but obviously they would love to have him.
Yeah.
But hey, you never know. Maybe when he's, at the very end of his career, he'll want to play where Dad coached. I don't know. You never know. You never know.
Fingers crossed.
Interesting. Like I said, interesting take considering you're a Kings fan. There must be, because that's the local rivalry, your Hawkies and your Kings. So that's strong claim. I like it.
Yeah.
But you've never been afraid to shy away from those things.
No, I do like the Kings squad. They're very talented. That's the word that keeps coming. Everyone's saying they're talented, but they look to still have some issues that are sort of a hangover from last season, and that is stopping teams from scoring on them and going on runs. When the Kings are getting a lot of steals and hitting a lot of 3-point shots, they look unbeatable, but then they go into a 5-minute, or quarter span where shots aren't really going down. They struggle to find easy looks. And they, that high pressure looking for steals all the time, you can't maintain that for a 40-minute game. And you see teams just start to pick up easy buckets on them. And we've seen that in each of their games. They got out on Perth. Perth came back. Who they play in their second game, and they lost to the Hawks. So they let the Hawks get out. They came back to the Hawks, but then in the fourth quarter, Tyler Harvey just did what Tyler Harvey does. He hit a big three, and they just had too much in the end. So, yeah, I like the Kings. I think they'll be in the finals. But, the good thing about the Kings is they've got Brian Goorjian. So hopefully that stamp of how they'll play and, what sort of defensive mentality they'll have will be sort of, as the season goes on, will be more defined, and they'll have, a more resiliency to them, which is probably the number one thing. They don't have a lot of resilience at the moment when they start to miss a lot of shots or can't get what they want.
Missing that dog from previous seasons. Yeah. One thing I definitely noticed, I'm with you on the Breakers. I like them. They definitely look like they were a new coaching combination at the Blitz. There was a couple of moments there where there was some real disconnect, and you'd expect that. New coach, new situation. Like that's totally to be expected. How quickly can they all get on the same page will be interesting, because there was a few moments just with where I was seated. There was a couple of moments of looking over, and there was clear confusion in certain situations about, there was a few head looks, few shakes, no. Like there was one point where one of the ACs went to yell something out, and the other three looked at him, whoa, what are you doing? So there was a couple of moments where there's still some teething issues there, but look, they've jumped out of the gate pretty well so far. And Hawkies, well, obviously Justin Tatum came in the end of last season. They've had that, run up, that bit of consistency. And since his arrival, it seems thus far, if we extend across the whole time, it seems as if it's been nothing but really positive stuff. So, that seems to have continued into this season, and they look good. Good. So especially a young man by the name of William Hickey coming out of NBL1 East. Oh,
he's a beast.
The beast from the East, indeed. He's having a good season thus far, but expect to see more of that. Anyone for you out there, Elliot, apart from those two, that's like, ooh, 2 or 3 teams like, ooh, you know what? I can't help it. I've got to say something.
Yeah, I just had notes. I agree with the Hawks and the Breakers. I just got notes on both of them. People were trying to put down their 3 wins to like the Kings losing or this kind of stuff. But they've got 3 wins. Like they didn't lose them, and I think they actually played fairly well. There's some patches, but you can't play a full 40 amazingly, I don't think. So yeah, we shouldn't be taking away those 3 wins from them, I don't think.
And it's still early. We know that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're aware of that.
Yeah. And Mojave King for the Breakers, he looks really good. He came out and balled out against the Bullets. So he looks really good in the other games too. He looks good. Another team just Tassie kind of bringing it back from the Blitz and just looking consistent. And I think you can just never really write them off. So they've come back and without McVeigh, and they still look solid. So I think they're still a run in for the.
They're
for the
definitely
finals.
a team I'd like some more data on.
Yeah.
I'd definitely like some more data. Get over this FIBA tournament thing hangover stuff and get another 3 or 4 rounds in, then we readjust, because even last year they had that poor start.
Yeah.
Put it together late, made that run on the finals, were able to get it done over everyone else. So they're certainly a team that they've kept the core together. So, can they do something like that again? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and really unlucky that Sean McDonald injury that he picked up at that Intercontinental Cup or whatever it was. Whatever that, I don't know, that pointless tournament, but
how dare you speak the truth?
Yeah, he did. I think it was his ankle, and it's out till like Christmas or something. I was reading on the NBL website, so a bit unfortunate because
cracked his first big time contract and stuff like that. Full. I was like, of all the times, my guy, the times.
End of the game too, I think it was. So extra rough, but.
And other side note to the Hawks, how ugly is their jersey? It is horrendous. Those red jerseys. Wow.
Not a fan, hey, Tiger? Not a fan.
No, I'm not running out to buy one of those.
My biggest problem with the NBL jerseys, the ones that don't have a sponsor clearly have a space for a sponsor.
It looks so weird.
Just lift it up until...
the Bullets ones, every game, I go, it looks like it's printed wrong because it like sits below the chest. It's just,
Yeah, and your fan base fully understands why there's a space there. We get it. We know. And this is all teams. But if we could just raise it up slightly and then drop it back down if you need to. If you've got a naming right sponsor across the chest, you've got money coming in to pay for the extra jerseys. Give them to the kids. The kids will take them. All right. Speaking of the Bullets, let's talk of the positives for the Bullets. Tyrell Harrison has re-signed.
Hey.
So he's added an extra 2 years extension onto his contract. He'll be a Bullet until the end of NBL 27. So this season and then 2 more. Yeah, wow. It'll make him the longest tenured Bullet by a fair whack of a margin by the end of that point. Really solid, really positive. He's had a really good 12 months. I think he deserved this sort of decision to be locked in nice and early. I like it. Any other positives, Mac, for the Bullets before we get into their loss?
No, I think
what do you got?
I think it's ultra positive. I actually didn't realize he was still that young when I was looking up and saw the contract. He's only 25, so his best basketball is still to come. The only and you can't factor injuries in, but you just fingers crossed. And as a Bullets fan, you hope that he has a good injury-free period, which he hasn't had. He's gone spurts, but he seems to just pick up some injuries through the season, and he actually plays well through them most of the time. But, man, if he's injury-free and he's coming into his 26, 27, 28, and they're like his 8th, 9th, he's been in the league since he was 18, so he's getting up to the 10-year mark. So his experience is excellent, and then just the age sort of factor and improvement and where bigs generally sort of hit their best basketball is, he's hitting that age now. And I think it was Derek Rucker when the Blitz was on and the Bullets were playing, he reckoned this was going to be his breakout year. And he said he's going to probably be the best player for the Bullets on a lot of their games. So that's a huge rap from a big analyst like Derek Rucker and former Bullet himself. So, yeah.
Alrighty. Let's get into, now that we've pumped up the Bullet stuff, yay. Tyrell hasn't been the greatest start to a season the Bullets have ever had. It's only 2 games. Yeah. Not writing anything off. But we're Bullets fans. We've been here before. Yeah. So let's get into it. Mac, Bullets lose again.
Yeah. Injuries are gonna. It seems that every year the Bullets have just don't do well on the injury front. But injuries to Bannon, he's got that hand or wrist injury. And then, unfortunately, Sam McDaniels has gone down for the season after the game against the Breakers. It tests their depth, and I think that's where they've been found out a little bit in the first few games. But also, just who's going to take the scoring load that Nathan Sobey used to take? And I know towards the end, people got a little bit tiresome, and maybe some of the shots and shot selection that Sobey would take, but he was still a 20-point a night guy. So who's going to pick up that scoring load? And I think the two imports in Cook and Bateman,
40 shots if needs be, though.
Yeah, that's right. But someone's got to shoot 40 shots, so they've got to redistribute that a little bit, and there's going to be other guys who's going to get more shot attempts, or one of these imports are going to come in and maybe do a similar job, or maybe not to the same extent. But it just sort of hasn't made itself clear yet. But I think it will. I think Coach Schuler is a very good coach, and I think it's a good squad they got. So I can't see them being on no wins for a long period. And I think probably this weekend, I was going through the list, and I think they're going to pick up a win this weekend. It'll just be interesting to see. Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. The Bullets at home have a pretty good record against the Kings. But it'd be interesting to see what the plan is with Rocco. I'm not sure what you guys think. Is he on a sort of minute restriction, or is it they're just still easing him into it? But 10 minutes a game, and how effective he can be at times, you think he probably is needing a few more minutes. Especially if, he wants to keep pushing his NBA draft stock up.
Yeah, he looks fitter and stronger than he was last year, because he would come off kind of blowing and you get knocked around as however many kilos as is. He's not heavy for how tall he is. But he looks fitter and stronger than he was last year, so I expected more minutes. And I think that's what, I can't remember who said it, but they said, "Oh, God made him 7'3", you're disrespecting God."
Mr. Lowry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, of course it was. But I would like to see more minutes from him. It's just have to see how we go. I think they might want to be switching up the lineups, because the other teams have bigs that can move a little bit more. So if you play Tyrell and Rocco, then you don't have that kind of depth at that 5 where you can guard the quicker bigs. But yeah, I don't know. I would play him more personally, but yeah, I trust Schuler, so we'll have to see how we go.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. They're a little bit short staffed. They're pushing people into other roles. Obviously, I want to see young Rocco play as much as he can. Also want to see him win. So if one of those two things can happen, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
He definitely looks a lot like his growth. Very happy with it. Not that he cares, but it's not a Ben Simmons situation where the kid looks exactly the same as last year. It's not. It's his growth has really been shown. I was watching him at the Blitz, and he's thinking so much more on the court. You can see it happening. You can see him reacting a little bit more in positive ways to things when he sees them happening. It's things are definitely improving. So I think we'll only see more of him throughout the season, potentially then to a point. It might get to the point where Brisbane season isn't going too well. We might see more of a Giddy situation than an Alex Sarr situation, depending on draft stock and all that kind of stuff. But in Giddy's defense, 36ers were done. Their season was totally kaput by the time he actually pulled back and dialed it down to 0. Alex Sarr, different situation. Wildcats were in the hunt.
Yeah.
He stuck with it. All credit to both decisions. Neither one of those are easy. So, but look, we'll see how he goes. He's obviously higher on everyone's radar. He's one of those talking points. Everyone's going to want to talk to him, talk about him, because, kid genuinely could be heading to the big show. with a potentially even lottery pick, depending on how the next 15 to 20 games go here in the NBL. So
Yeah,
we'll see how he does. But look, tough again. Bullets come out, and I feel like we've seen this picture with the Bullets again. I know I go on about it, but it's the same thing again. We get down early, we can't come back.
Yep.
And again and again and again. Mac?
it is one of those things where the Bullets fans seem to if Bullets fans are like Broncos fans. It must be a Brisbane thing. As soon as a team gets on the end of a few losses, the gusto behind them really drops out. So it's almost like death riding the team a little bit. But no, you're right. This early in the season, you don't want to be on duck egg or goose egg, sorry, for wins too long. You want to get one on the board and start stringing them together, because they do add up pretty quickly. And a lot of the times over the last few seasons, the Bullets, you look back at some of the games they've lost and how many close ones they've lost by, and they just they end up missing out on those finals by it's sometimes just for and against, other times just 1 win, 2 wins. It's the same old story for the last few years.
Yeah, it is, and you make a fair point. Not trying to be negative. It's very early, all that kind of stuff.
Still got Bannon to go, because he took over some games last season, so I'm excited to see him back and see how we can go from there. But yeah.
There definitely is positives. You've got a squad full of guys desperate to get out there and play as well, and next man up, all that kind of stuff. Preseason, all positive. But I think you're right. It's almost a residual sort of Brisbaneite thing. And yes, we can probably draw attention to this one over here's scarf, and his Lions got up.
Yeah.
But
the other team didn't really get on the bus that day, but that's all right.
Or the plane, or leave the dressing rooms at any point. And that coach's brief post-game presser, that was brutal.
Yeah.
But, look, it's probably a little bit of that too, because the end of the day, we are sports fans. Like that's the tricky thing. Like we genuinely follow the local team because that's just what you do.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're following the Brisbane Lions of the three-peat era. Where you have that residual positive energy that's in there for years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since the Bullets have put together a really strong season.
Yeah, because I try to get excited every year, and then they disappoint every year. Like, I want to be behind them. I'm like, okay, we built a good squad, like, good to go. And then they come out in that first game, and I'm just like, I literally sat there and just, here we go again. Like, it's just the same thing. So I try to stay as positive as I can, but without getting too positive, obviously, because
2007 was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Last championship.
Sure was.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into, there's 3 teams at the bottom. I don't know which one of you gentlemen would like to go first, but we've got Adelaide, currently 0 wins. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, currently 0 wins. The delightful Brisbane Bullets, currently 0 wins. We're 2 rounds in. Means nothing. All right. But who do you see with the best chance of rising from those 3, rising up and potentially making a playoff or a really strong season run? Even though, yes, we are two rounds in, not writing anyone off. We're not going that way. We're going up. Who have you got?
I'll probably say Southeast Melbourne is the most talented squad, and so I probably think they've got the best chance of it's really early on, but not counting out anyone yet. But I'd probably say that Southeast Melbourne would be best chance of turning everything around and making it all the way to the finals, and just because of the squad they have. But I've been really impressed actually by the play of Geordie Hunter. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
last year he averaged 10 points. This year he's averaging 19, and at the Blitz he was dominant. So he's been playing really well, but they just haven't gelled on Walton Jr. or Sobey. They've got to find some production off the bench as well. But they do have some young talent on there. They've got some talented guys on there. They're just, their first few games just haven't got a lot out of the bench. But they're probably the best chance, I'd say. Adelaide, I don't know if you want to just grab the pen out and put it through them now. I mean, I like the fact they got Montrezl Harrell, but I mean, Isaac Humphries hasn't looked. I'm not sure if he's carrying an injury or something, but he's looked a bit out of sorts at the start of the year.
Looks like it, doesn't he?
And the depth probably just isn't there. They look good in spurts against the Kings. That's the main game I've seen them play in, but I can't see them turning it around to make a big run. Bullets, they've got a chance. I like their squad. I think they just, once again, a bit like Southeast Melbourne, they've got to just gel together and find a little bit of continuity. And the Adelaide red jerseys were about as ugly as the Illawarra ones. Just side note.
Oh, come on. I didn't mind mine, but you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Elle, who have you got, mate?
Yeah, but I'd say the same with the Phoenix. If they can just play a little bit of defense and then keep up that scoring that we know that they can have, they'll be all right. But they just put up, I think they played 3 games and they put up 79 and a little bit more than 80. So if you're going to be that team that's going to go out and score, you got to go out and score and then try to play a little bit of defense at least. And I think they should be right. They'll outscore teams, and they've definitely got the talent to get it done. But yeah, about the same. Like Adelaide had, or was it? Yeah, I think Adelaide just no bench production. Like Lat Mayen's been good for them, but it's about it really. And we don't think Trez is going to be around for very long. So they're going to be interesting. And then, Brisbane.
But they have signed their coach for 3 years, which when Adelaide 36ers sign a coach, they have signed a coach. I'm not sure where I was going with that. But they don't tend to be long-term contracts like that. So we'll have to see how that goes for Mr. Wells. Look, I like Phoenix. I think they're a talented crew. There's a lot of talent there. It's not necessarily gelling yet.
Yeah.
Could it? Yeah. I really want to be on the Team Bullets here. Schuler's boys, rise up, get it done. Started off with the Kings, first home game. Let's get around this thing back at the end center. Rise, they've got a couple of players out and issues, and we've talked about that earlier. But their imports looking fairly good so far. They certainly don't look useless or anything like that. It's just a case of what's everyone's role. Everybody's showing up and head back up the mountain. Playoffs, or at the very least, play-in style situation. I believe it's doable with this squad, obviously with a Sam McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
Feel as if it was almost a lock. Macca, we saw this guy week in, week out at the Caps. He was just on that next level and looked like he was really building something. Sad that this injury's happened, but he's going to get it fixed, and hopefully that'll then be it fixed. And I'm sure he'll rally and be stronger for it. But yeah, look, if I have to pick, since none of you guys did it, I'll put my Homer hat back on. I'll look at the jersey behind me, and let's go with Bullets. They'll be the ones to rise. All right. Some very quick predictions, gentlemen, for the week ahead. First Thursday night game, Adelaide, Southeast Melbourne, Phoenix. Macca, Phoenix or Adelaide?
Phoenix.
Very quickly. Phoenix. Okay. Elliot, who you got?
Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah, give me Phoenix too.
Yep.
All right. None of us taking the Birds. Righty, Friday, we've got Taipans and Jack Jumpers. Does anyone want Cairns? Anyone?
Yeah,
Cairns
I'll take.
going?
I'll take.
Oh,
I'll take.
Macca, we've
I'll
got a
take
taker
Cairns.
on Cairns.
Cairns at home. I reckon. I reckon they can get Tasmania. I think Tasmania played really well at home, but I think they'll have their struggles this season, and on the road was where you'll probably mainly see it. So I'll take Cairns at home.
Okay. Give me the Jackies on the road. Elliot, you're
I'll
the
stick with
same.
Jackies, yeah.
Wildcats taking on United in the Jungle RAC Arena. Give me the Wildcats. El?
I really like Perth, yeah. Wildcats.
Macca?
Yeah, I don't. Are they going to play Pinder, or are they going to sit him on the bench again? I don't know. It's so hard to follow what Riley's going to do. But yeah, Perth at home, Red Army, Melbourne coming off a loss. Yeah, all right, I'll follow you boys. I'll go Perth. But if they lose, I'm blaming you too.
Oh, you big chicken. No. You're out on this limb with us. You chose to be here, mate.
Yeah.
All right. Saturday night, Illawarra Hawks take on the Adelaide 36ers in the Wynn Entertainment Centre in Illawarra. Who have you got, Max?
Hawks.
Yeah.
Hawks. Yep. Give me the Hawkies as well. Bullets and Kings. Who've you got, Elliot?
Let's go Brisbane. Come on.
Brisbane.
First home
Macca.
game.
I'll take Kings because they're my team, but like I said, they do struggle against the Bullets at home, so would not be surprised if the Bullets get their first win there.
Yeah, look, it's going to be tough. It's going to be it's all going to come down to the first quarter. Kings are one of those teams. I don't think you're going to be able to take a big L in that first quarter and then bounce back really easily. So first quarter is going to be crucial. Give me the Bullets. I can't stand here and say I'm taking the Bullets to rise up and then not tip them 30 seconds later. So give me the Bullets over the Kingies. Sunday, United versus Taipans back down in Melbourne. So both teams will effectively be travelling over the weekend back to Melbourne. Macca, United or Taipans?
United, Melbourne at home.
El?
Yeah, we're going United.
United? Yeah, look, give me them in John Cain as well. Then Tassie in My State Bank Arena. Perth Wildcats coming in. Elliot, who've you got there?
Oh, that's gonna be a tough one, hey, because Tassie at home. I'm gonna go Perth.
Mac, who you got?
I'm going Perth as well.
Perth. Oh, all right. Well, I'll buck the trend and go Jack Jumpers, just to be different. Unlike Macca, though, if the team I pick loses, I'll own it. Won't be a big buck. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, Jason Brooks, president of RIP City Basketball, is on to talk about their application to BQ to rejoin NBL1 North. Jason, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Absolute pleasure, mate. All right, let's jump in. Obviously, you haven't been, president for years and years at RIP City, so let's jump in and talk. And let's try and start honestly around this. So, strong history that the RIP City had, but they have had a small hiatus from the NBL1 North. Can you walk us through roughly what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. My tenure sort of started about the time that RIP City decided to actually leave the competition for the last year. Look, they do have a good history, quite good success in the program. Both what people see and don't see inside our association. It has been very successful, having that program, having those players, those coaches, and it helps everything. QSL, Youth League, our senior programs, all the way down to the juniors. Having those programs, we've got a great facility, great program, great coaches, great support. So it was quite a hard time for the club when that happened. But it had to do with a couple of things that we weren't meeting, and in our discussions with BQ at the time, it was about going back and concentrating. I know there's a couple of other associations that are probably at that stage now that I've heard, but it was about going back, not just focus on the juniors, but just getting some things right and really building back from the ground. And it's been a tough year with some things, a lot of changes, a lot of restructuring. But we've spent the last year doing the things that we said we we're going to do, and they were about focusing on our junior programs, getting our systems and governance where it needs to be to make sure that when we do come back in, it's for a long period of time and great success. And we've restructured our association. We've got multiple committees in place, all the way from senior programs. So we've actually got an NBL1 committee in place that's separate to the standard board committees, coaching committees, and we've really focused on building things from the ground up, making sure that our programs are in place, making sure that we've got our pathways there, and gave us a good chance to focus on our youth league and QSL for a good year too, and making sure we've got some standardisation around that as well. So, look, it was a tough time to make that decision back about 12 months ago with BQ, but we're back to where we are now, putting the application in again.
And what's the so can you also talk us through what the connection is with the Moreton Bay Suns? So from what I understand, you guys are jumping in and putting in a joint application. Is that right?
Yeah, so what it was is the RIP City sort of process with NBL1 it's been quite successful. As I said, it's a lot of people know our program, know who we are due to the success we've had in that program in the past, both men's and women's. So it wasn't just about joining another association. What it's about for us is, like any business, it's about organic and inorganic growth. It's about capturing those pathways and really focusing on having that localised sort of talent, being able to have something to aim for. And when we were in our discussions with Chris and the Moreton Bay Suns, it was about, well, if we were able to actually have that program working for both RIP City and also the Moreton Bay Suns, it allows us to have a greater opportunity to get more of that sort of, I suppose, player pathways, if you would. We've already got our relationship with Gympie and they're involved in our rep program from a junior point of view. But with Moreton Bay, it was more about that NBL1 pathway that they just didn't have down there at the moment. And with the great success in the program and the governance around what we have, we thought, what an opportunity to take a few games down there, give the opportunity to give the Moreton Bay region an NBL1 program to be part of and use the success of what we've had in the past with RIP City and join it at that NBL1 level. Through those conversations, though, it was more than that. It was about where else can we work together as different associations for the betterment of our kids and those pathways. So we're working on now having some pre-rep sort of trial games, bringing in some club competitions between Gympie, RIP City and Moreton Bay as the clubs, not as association, as clubs, and looking to leverage that as we can. But we see that NBL1 program as the peak and being able to feed back into those programs rather than be the other way, which is having those junior programs trying to feed that NBL1.
Since you mention it, NBL1 seasons are expensive. What sort of finance things do you have in place so that it's not just like everyone sort of like everyone thinks it does in different situations around where the juniors are financing the seniors? What's the RIP situation?
Yeah, funny enough, it's one of the things we've worked on is our, I suppose, financial structures and how payments come through and how do you get the most out of what you do. It costs a fair bit of money for most people to play basketball. If you're playing club, you're playing rep, you go through those pathways, you've got states, you've got different tournaments, you've got your one-on-ones, you've got those small groups, you've got academies. We looked at all those things and looked at, well, what's the best pathways and what's the best, I suppose, programs we can have with what we have in place with money and things like that. So what we're able to do is look at it differently. And so I know in the past there's been a lot of talk about those junior programs paying for the NBL1 and people losing money and things like that. But what we're able to do, firstly, is separate those committees. So we've actually got an NBL1 committee that has different people on that committee to make sure that they're running the program as it needs from a governance point of view to finances to players and coaches and making sure everything's in place. And what they've been able to do is we've got a focus now where that program is separate to the rest of the association financial budgeting. So that program's got to run by itself. It's got to have its own budget, its own sponsorships, its own funding arrangements, and it's got to be able to not take money from the association. And to be honest, we've actually done it the other way, where part of that program through sponsorships and what we've been able to do is they've actually got to give back to the association. So we're doing it a bit in reverse, where both from a funding point of view, some funds have to come back in to the association through, but also the ability to have that program work back in. So it's not just at the senior level with helping out the QSL and QSL Youth League. It's about getting people in and touching that program and having those players around, running academies, being part of our coaching, helping out with the official side of things as well, getting more involved with our sponsors. So I know that's been the way of the past, and I know that's what's been said before, but we've made a very, very distinct effort to make sure that that program is standalone, to make sure it's successful in the future. When we put through the application again, it wasn't just about coming back in for 1 year. It was spending time to get those structures in place to make sure we're successful year upon year. And I'm not going to sit here and say we've got the biggest budget in Australia for the NBL1 program, but we've got a budget that's very sustainable and very competitive to go back into place.
Awesome. Love everything you're saying there, because obviously, basketball is expensive and we don't want juniors, paying for senior programs. If you could narrow it down, what are the couple of things that you're looking and, the association's looking to gain from having a team back in that NBL1 North space?
It's one of those things where I think it was a bit of you don't know what you had until you don't have it. And we took a lot of time going back through what that program was for us and what we could have done better with the program, not just financially, but how you actually make that the pinnacle of your association. So for us, what we're aiming at, and we do hold it that highly, we don't just see it as a program that's just nice to have. It's just there to all about just making sure that you've got what you need to from a playing point of view. It's about making it a true pinnacle of your association. So it's about, I think I said it before, it's about that actual program feeding back in as much as it can back into all your programs, all the way down to your people who are at your school level who are just being introduced to basketball, having those people around your association and be seen. So what we're aiming to have is that being seen, touched and felt by everyone, so it actually feels like it's actually part of your association and not just a pinnacle of a program. We're actually looking at getting more involvement from that program. Having a relationship with Moreton Bay allows us to really showcase what we have as a team and through our training programs and academies with others. So it allows us to share that and give them something. But what we're really looking forward to be honest, is getting our great program back into a great facility there at UniSC Arena and actually showcasing what we have. We saw it again with the NBL1 finals, which was quite hard for us to be hosting that without having a team in at the time. But it showed us again what a quite good spectacle that we can put on. So we're looking to get as much involvement as that from our sponsors to our players, to our parents, to our fans, and they've been loyal to us the whole way. And it's about giving back with that program at that professional level and giving back to the club.
All right, mate. Thank you very much for your time, and look, best of luck to you and all of RIP City and, of course, Moreton Bay Suns with their application. Hopefully we're here in the next couple of weeks. And, look, we'll just have to go from there, obviously. But best of luck with the application.
Excellent. Thanks for your time.
All right, it is time for local card shop of Woolloongabba, Crackem, and there's the pack. We're unopened, sealed pack from Rob. Down the local card shop of Woolloongabba. Here it is, Tops 2023-2024. Let's get into it. If you haven't played local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackem before, this is how it goes. I open the pack. I take out the cards. I read the back of the pack, and whenever I get to the player's name, I say somebody, and we try and these boys will have to jump in. Elliot, let's go. Your buzzer this week can be Lions.
Yeah.
Macca, your buzzer this week can be, let's go Thunder. You're wearing their jersey.
Yep.
Giddy doesn't play there anymore, but still. All right, let's jump into our first card. Excuse me. Oh, and luck of lucks and bullets. All right. Now, who won last time we did this, fellas? Who got the W?
Probably not me.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's no Crackem King in the room or on the phone, so let's get this done, lads. Let's get this done. a three-time all NBL selection, including a first-team nod
Thunder.
in 2021. Yep.
I went a bit early. So Nathan Sovey.
It is Nathan Sovey.
Oi. All right.
And look at that, missing a naming right sponsor across the chest. All right. Okay, next card. Here we go. Card number 2 for local card shop Woolloongabba Crackem. Part of a balanced offense in Brisbane. Somebody was the team's top 3-point marksman, 44.4%, and 5th leading scorer in 2022-2023 season.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Jason Kadee.
It is not Jason Kadee.
Oof.
The second-generation NBL player was born in Melbourne but grew up in the United States, where he starred in college with elite first-step quickness and springy legs. Somebody can fly past defenders and score at the rim.
Lions.
Yep.
Josh Bannon?
No, so you both.
Can I get another go?
In.
Thunder. DJ Mitchell.
Yes. DJ Mitchell is. Yes. I was going to go to the NBL1 North clues, but not needed,
Yeah,
Mac.
wow.
Not needed.
Didn't know he was that.
Yeah.
Shoot like that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right. Card number 3. Mac out to a big lead. All right. Let's go, mate.
Woo.
Love to say that he didn't get lucky on the first card, but it was very early and they're very,
The pre-bullets clue probably.
All right. Card number 3. Here we go. Since coming to the NBL as a DP in 2020, somebody has made steady gains as a scorer, rebounder, and shot blocker. The dynamic forward opened his second Adelaide season by ripping down 9 boards and swatting 3 shots against Melbourne on October 1st, 2023. Proclaims, this is an old quote, proclaims 36ers coach CJ Bruton, somebody is a thrilling player to watch. This player has also played in the NBL1 North last couple of seasons. We had a little bit of an injury issue this season. Played in Ipswich last year with his brother.
Thunder.
Lions.
Lions was first, as you both forgot your buzzers.
Kyron Galloway.
Kyron Galloway, it is. There he is there. All right, 2-1. Oakley dokely do. For the Sydney Kings, a former National Player of the Year honoree at his US college, somebody brings a wealth of high-level experience to the Sydney roster. He scored 15 points in his third NBL contest on October 7, 2023, then put up the same total 5 days later in the guard spot for the Sydney Kings.
Lions. I'm just going to go Jalen Adams.
It is not Jalen Adams. Born in 1993 in Lansing, Michigan.
Jeez.
You're going to open it back up. You've now got all the clues. This is a mixture of my favorite actor's first name and my least favorite not real holiday. Favorite actor's first name.
It's not Dubbo.
Not a real holiday. Not a real holiday, but it gets over-celebrated every year.
I've got nothing.
King Kong ain't got nothing on this guy. Training day. There's your clue. Just bringing the heat here, guys. Come on. Come on. Equalizer 2 was the actor who has the same first name. Yep. Was his first actual sequel. Yeah. Yep. What do you got, Mac?
Well, it's something Denzel, maybe, or
you got for me, mate?
Or something Washington. I got
Denzel Valentine, gentlemen. Denzel Valentine. Favorite actor, Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Did it? Yeah.
Not a real thing.
Did it say guard?
It says guard.
Because I would have. Yeah, I thought it would have been a forward. That's why.
Yeah.
It says guard on the card.
Yeah,
Mind you, it said last week. Who was the player? I've got the card here. Trenton Flowers was 9 years old. So sometimes the cards are wrong. Sometimes the cards just aren't quite
10
there.
in the NBA.
Yeah. Anywho, moving it along. That's all right. That gives us an odd number now. So odd number left. Even number, but odd number out. All right. Card number 4 for local card shop for Woolloongabba Crackem. Somebody has averaged double-digit points 6 times in his NBL career, including both of his previous 2 seasons with Illawarra. The veteran wing rejoined the team in May, adding much-needed scoring and experience to the roster.
Lions. Oh, yeah.
Macca?
I'm having a mind blank. No.
Now's not the time. 3,
It is, isn't it?
2, 1.
He played for Mackay this year.
Lions.
Elliot.
Todd Blanchfield.
Todd Blanchfield. Yes, there he is. We actually had his card just last week. This is the base set. We had the special numbered variety.
What a mind blank. Anyway.
All good, mate. I will put that one in a card safe and get it to you, Max, so you won't forget Todd Blanchfield again. All right, final card, gentlemen. Final card. Here we go. Somebody, a former NBL champion, sees an opportunity to elevate Illawarra much the way he did his own sporting fortunes. I've never seen a highly recruited guy. Sorry, excuse me. I'll read that part again. Read the quote. I've never been a highly recruited guy. The ex-Melbourne forward says, every opportunity I have had in basketball, I've had to do it the long way.
Lions.
Yes.
Mason Peatling.
Mason Peatling. There it is. It's shiny as well.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Not numbered, but a shiny one nevertheless. And looks like Macca has dropped out of the chat after losing. Oh, no. He will never hear the end of this. Oh, Macca. Okay, Mac has genuinely dropped out of the chat, and that is the end of the show. He's lost Crackem. On the back of Denzel Valentine card. Oh, if only. Well, technically he lost it on the back of forgetting who Toddy Blanchfield. That's not fair. All right, that is going to wrap us up. Thank you, Elliot, for sticking with us to the end. Really appreciate it. And, of course, thank you to Jason Brooks for also jumping on and joining us. That is going to wrap us up, though. Yeah, sorry, Mac. Bye, buddy. Big thank you, of course, to Dr Electrician and our amazing supporters in the local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackem. Oh, Mac is back just in time. He's got his phone backwards. Yeah, sorry,
my phone went dead.
Yeah, you lost. You're sideways. It doesn't matter. Live show. You're out the door. Sorry, bud. Love your work, but that is going to bring the show to an end. If you're listening on a podcast service that allows 5-star reviews, please do go ahead and do that. That stuff really does help. But until you're listening to us again, just remember to keep your phone charged and that ball don't lie.